The universe expands, yet the truth remains, still within.
What if you are not the one in control? There is a question most people avoid, not because it is unimportant, but because it is uncomfortable. What if you are not the one in control of your own life? It sounds strange at first, almost impossible to accept. After all, you make decisions every day. You choose what to say, what to do, what to think. It feels obvious that you are the one behind your actions, but if you look closely, that certainty begins to crack. Because every thought you have simply appears. You don't decide your next thought before it happens. You don't choose it in advance. It arrives, fully formed, inside your awareness, and only after it appears do you claim it as yours. But if you didn't choose it, then where did it come from? Try something simple. Pause for a moment and attempt to predict your next thought. Kante. Whatever comes next will just emerge, unexpected, unplanned. And yet, the moment it appears, it feels like it belongs to you, like you created it. But did you? Or did it just happen inside you? Your brain is constantly processing information, signals, memories, patterns, sensations, all moving through a system of incredible complexity. Neurons fire, connections activate, chemical reactions occur. And from all of this activity, thoughts emerge, not one by one in a controlled sequence, but as spontaneous results of processes you are not consciously directing. So, where exactly is the you in all of this? Because if thoughts are not chosen, if emotions arise automatically, if reactions happen before you are even aware of them, then what are you actually controlling? We like to believe that we are the authors of our actions, that there is a central self-making decisions, guiding behavior, shaping reality. But what if that sense of self is just part of the system? A constructed identity, a narrative created by the brain to organize experience. A story that feels real because it is constantly being told. The voice in your head, the internal dialogue, the feeling of I am thinking. But that voice is made of thoughts, and those thoughts are not chosen. Which means the I may not be what it seems. Now imagine something deeper. What if your body is not who you are, but something you are using? A biological interface, a system that receives input, processes information, and produces behavior. And your awareness is not the system itself, but something observing through it. Like a screen displaying a world, or a player inside a game. Because everything you experience, everything you call reality is filtered through your senses and interpreted by your brain. You do not perceive the world directly. You perceive a constructed version of it, a model, a simulation built from signals. Which means your reality is already a kind of interface. And within that interface, a sense of self appears. But what if that self is not the source of control, but just part of the display? Something even more interesting happens when thoughts begin to slow down, when the constant inner dialogue fades, even for a moment. People who meditate deeply often describe this experience. The silence, the absence of mental noise. And in that silence, the sense of I begins to weaken. Not disappear completely, but lose its solidity. And what remains is something different. Awareness. Not thinking. Not judging. Not controlling. Just observing. And that raises a question that is difficult to ignore. If you can observe your thoughts, then you are not your thoughts. If you can observe your emotions, then you are not your emotions. If you can observe your sense of self, then what are you? Because the observer does not seem to be something you create. It is already there. Before the thought, before the reaction, before the identity. And maybe that is the key. Maybe you are not the one controlling the system. Maybe you are the one aware of it, watching thoughts appear, watching decisions unfold, watching a life being lived through a body, through a mind, through a system that feels personal, but may not be fully yours. So the question is no longer, do you have control? It becomes something deeper. What are you if you are not the one in control? If this made you think, take a moment to like the video and tell me in the comments, do you think you are in control or just observing?